To the regular meeting of the board, 6:36.
Thought I was logged in.
Well, let's see what
Okay, now. Archer. Yes. Carpenter.
Yes.
McElroy. Yes. Stotsberry. McKee.
Yes. Moving on.
Do Paul first.
Okay. Paul, we're gonna go to you first.
Well, that was quick. Well, good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to stop by and just share with you a little bit. I'm Paul Mock from the Ohio School Boards Association, where I serve as the regional manager for the Southeast region. OSBA is the state association for your school board members, founded in 1955. At that point in time, bringing together 5 regional school board associations. Of those 5, Southeast is the oldest. Actually, it was originally called the Southeast School Board Association, with our roots in Ohio University in Athens. And Southwest followed, Northwest, Northeast, and Central. And in 1955, the General Assembly approved OSBA to become a state association. Interestingly, we maintain those original boundaries, and even our bylaws per region vary just a little bit, but under the umbrella, we function as a state association. A couple things I just want to highlight to you tonight. Southeast region, we have 18 counties. I work with 84 school districts. Geographically, Southeast is the largest. Number of school districts, the smallest. So my district looks like going from Martins Ferry down to Marietta, clear over to Portsmouth, as far north as Shop, which is referred to as God's country. But because of that geographical size, we have typically, normally, non-COVID situations, we have 2 spring conferences, one in the southern end of the region and one in this end of the region, March, and then we have an annual conference in the fall. And in that opportunity, we rotate around the different school districts, different buildings, people an opportunity to get out and come to our functions. You can imagine anywhere in this region, it takes you about 2 hours to get from here to there. And some places even a little longer. We just finished up our spring conference last week, earlier this week actually, the 16th on Tuesday, where it was a virtual conference. And one of the things I'm learning about virtual conferences, they're neat, they're fun, but the way it's sure is not the same. We have the in-person conference. And we had a good turnout that night, and some of you were here from the district where we were able to be part of that. One of the things that we recognized that evening was veteran board members. Every year, OSBA recognizes board members who've given 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and some even 40 up to 50. And typically, in our annual conference, hopefully will be in person this year in November. We typically will recognize the 25-year veterans at the Capitol Conference. They were recognized virtually. They were also recognized again Tuesday night. And we're finally getting some of those awards out to them. We had 6 regions, 25 years of experience. Back to the younger group, the 10, 15, and 20 group. One here in this district, recognized for 10 years of service by Carpenter. So, Guy, on behalf of OSBA in the Southeast region, we just want to recognize you for your years of service and say thank you for dedication for boys and girls here in the local district. So, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Before we get that dedication,
How long you got?
Hey, what's the picture?
We'll get one over there, so we'll take one next.
We also have one with 20 years of experience, McKee. So yeah, again, on behalf of OSBA and Southeast Region, we congratulate you and thank you for 20 years of dedicated service. Welcome. Then, I don't know if Lucy can hear me, but 10 years, 20 years, Lucy, 30 years. So congratulations, Lucy. Just an interesting tidbit, there were 59 veteran board members that we recognized Tuesday night. They're from all over this region, So there were 59 board members. So I thought for fun, I'd sit down and tally up those that had 10 years and the 20 years and the 30 years. And yes, we had some 40-year veterans. Those 59 people added up to 1,130 years of school board service. That's kind of blew my socks off. So we do have 3 years for 3 folks with 40 years. Lucy's in the group. I think about 10 people that'll be getting the 30-year review. So we're really happy with that. And yes, I've given up awards to a couple of folks over the years with 50 years. Interesting to talk to them and see what they've experienced in public education. Next award I want to talk about is one that's specific to this district. And many of you folks are already aware of it, and that's the Purple Star Award, which comes from the Ohio Department of Education. Established the Purple Star Award for military-friendly families, for schools, and recognizes those schools that show a major commitment to students and families connected to our nation's military. Schools that earn the award receive a special Purple Star recognition to display on the site. The school is honored with the Purple Star Award if it completes all the required activities, plus one optional activity. Purple Star Advisory Board, formed by the Ohio Departments of Education, Higher Education, Veteran Services, and the Adjutant General, hopes to decide the school's eligibility for this award. Across the state, 31 schools received the award in what they call Round 8 for a period from 2021 to 2024. Of those 31 schools, 2 are in the Southeast region. One of them is right here, Shenandoah High School. So it gives me a pleasure to present Justin, principal, aren't you?
Oh, I am.
Hi, Candy.
Yeah, that's right. You got it, Toyota.
So on behalf of OSBA and the Southeast region, congratulations. I think this is probably one of the neatest and best awards the State Department's come out with. And you'd be surprised how many school districts around this region are getting on board with signing up for this award. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is a couple of things with OSBA. Every year at the Capitol Conference, we have what we call a Student Achievement Fair. If you've been up there in the Capitol Conference, even though we were able to do that virtually this year, we opened up rooms from all over the state where schools come in and showcase, toot their horn, so to speak. You've been up there, down through those aisles, literally those kids will pull you in. They will say, we want you to see what we're doing, district. And as educators, when that light bulb goes off, that's half of your work. It's getting kids excited. So my challenge to you is go local. You've got the opportunity to do that. But you've done that before in the past. Appreciate that. But I know you've got programs that you can recognize. Deadline for that is forming arts groups on May the 19th. Got a choir, ensemble here at the school, if you'd like to nominate for that. That deadline's May the 19th. For the regular student achievement fair booths, basically, whenever we fill up those 100 booths, that's when it's the deadline. So the sooner you get it in, the better. Lastly, I want to mention a thing about what we call this, the Southeast Region's Recognition Program. It's been in place since 1993. In that, superintendent had a couple of copies of letters and nomination forms. We receive those from districts every year in 10 different categories. Outstanding teacher, outstanding classified, outstanding volunteer, outstanding administrator, male student, female student, and so forth. We receive those, and in our fall conference, we recognize the top recipient of each of those categories. But everyone gets a nice certificate, and it's a way to say thank you. Your district wouldn't function without your volunteers, without your classified staff. That's just a piece of it. But it's important we all say thank you to these folks and what they do. So the deadline for that is June 30th of this year. You've got some time, but time slips away from us, as we know. And finally, board members, you're going to be seeing some application forms coming up probably beginning of May. Those application forms are for getting involved in different OSBA activities, different committees from the region to the state level. Many of you remember that Ruth Now was very much a part of my region's executive committee for many, many years. But there's a process to get involved in that. And we've not been able to get anyone to step up since Ruth has passed on. I'm going to throw that invitation out to you. It's typically a 2-year term on the region executive committee, meeting 4 times a year, basically being a branch and extension of what I do to get the word out. But that's just one committee. There's several of those committees that are out there. So when those forms start coming out, probably electronically, take a look at that. We'd like to get some more folks from local involved. So with that, Ed, thank you for letting me stop by. Dan, all of you, it's good to see you again. And appreciate all you're doing in the midst of this crazy pandemic. I know you're surviving, and got graduation coming up in about 2 months.
We don't like surviving, we prefer thriving.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Well, we need a photo op before you leave, like get Ed and Guy first, and then high school reps back here, and we can do that, we'll do Well, that's fine, you wanna do it?
You think anyone will understand unless he's in the picture if you do it?
I'm gonna stand right in front of him.
Every now and then we just give him what he wants, even though it doesn't make, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Hang on. Pen Lucy.
No, let's
Okay.
Move to the left.
No, it's not
So
good.
we can
Not
see.
gonna work.
There you go.
got it? Okay.
One, oh, Paul, go that way, this way. 1, 2, 3.
Don't move yet.
Now, if you don't mind, let's get another one back here.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah, wait,
go ahead.
Okay.
We didn't break the camera? Good.
Get one more back here, then we'll get one with the purple star, and then we'll send you on your way, Mr. Bob. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'll be 70. How are you? Just good. Let's do our staff thing out in front of the entrance way. Because it's a pretty
See, they got their picture taken. You just say what they do next, and then.
Let's get as many as we can here. Let's do, or maybe we'll do one second, let's do everybody, you guys all do work.
Yeah, my husband's very well. I never.
Hey, Lonnie. Lonnie, you better get another picture. I don't think we're gonna have that. Maybe 5 more hours.
Yeah, who showed me some good deals.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you all, everybody, thanks.
Sooner the
On his phone, he said he'd be able to do it within 30 days.
Well, I haven't got that.
I have no concerns on it.
There you go.
Okay, Dan, we ready to move on? Marcy, you're up.
Okay, should I pull up PowerPoint now?
Diana.
Did everyone get their emails from me?
Yes.
Did everyone have a time to address the emails? It's okay, it's okay, you got plenty of time.
I got it.
So I need you to do the PowerPoint printout.
I did it.
Yeah, and then put it on view.
So the PDF is what we attached.
It's okay, just show them the pictures as we get to it.
Okay.
That's fine. So basically, I titled this, it's Southeastern Ohio Strengths Revolution, and that's the name of the grant that we received. And we just put our own little twist on it. Dan's strong, not wrong. He's always talking on the positive spectrum of this, and I did stuck. So we call it here in the district to focus on what's strong and not wrong. If you go to the next slide. So as you know, all individuals are unique. We have no fingerprints the same, right? As a district, our mission, right? It's okay. It has always been our desire to help our unique learners focus on their goals and their actions and what's going to lead them to increased access and opportunities, right? Whether they're with us now and then long after they leave us. So this research is through Gallup, and they support our initiative to tailor our pathways and our courses, our teaching methods and assignments using this StrengthsFinder assessment. Because we want to guide our students toward careers that are aligned with their strengths and their interests and their values. So back to that passion and that purpose piece. You've heard me say many times how critical creating a growth-minded culture is, where our students feel comfortable stretching themselves, right, without, even when it feels hard and unfamiliar. We want that comfort there. We want an environment where they can embrace their uniqueness. We'll go to the next slide. The deficit approach versus the strength-based approach, right? There's two ways to look at everything. Mr. Levin will have an example. We choose to thrive, right? You can look at it with cup half full, cup half empty, but school should be a place where students are inspired by what they're learning and doing. A strengths-based culture and strengths-based education. So that's predicated, right, by a belief that every child has the potential to learn, and the best way to grow learning is through a positive lens. An assumption that people already have within them. They already have the talents within inside, and those are the keys that they have to reaching that success that we talk about all the time in our mission statement. A focus on strong means leading to improved retention of our students, improved choices that they're making, improved grades, improved degrees, employability, lifelong learning. So within a strengths-based development, it empowers people for greater performance. I don't know if you can see this, but I found this data in one of Mr. Mahoney's slides, and I'll introduce you to Mr. Mahoney. And he was on the video if you had a chance to see it prior to the meeting. But 6 times as likely to engage in their jobs. People are 6 times more likely to engage. They are 6 times as likely to agree that they have the opportunity to do what they do best every day. and we're 3 times as likely to report having an excellent quality of life. So based on research, it does make a difference. Mr. Mahoney said to this in our training, he said, a person can't be anything they want, no way, but they can be a whole lot more of who they already are if they practice their strengths and talents. And that just stuck with me. So by focusing on what students do best, teachers, as you can see, they, on the chart over on the wall there, that's our teachers and what they do best. The next step is for them to then focus on what our students do best. Individualize their lesson planning, individualizing the assignments they give them, supporting their well-being, preparing them for the workplace as well as for the classroom. I have a packet for you that kind of goes along with the email and the strength stuff. So some of you will be able to fill it out now if you took the assessment, and some later. But there's one piece I wanted you to look at. On the left side, this is the training that Mr. Mahoney did with our administrative staff and then our teaching staff. And we're the leaders in the district, right? So the strength-based leaders, so it's saying, leadership, why is this important to us? So if you open it up to the left, to the inside of the front sheet, I just wanted to go, I took notes and I wanted to share those with you. So when we talk about the research, 5 changing workplace demands. So this means they moved from the first one to the second one. So the millennials, the Gen Zs, that's where this data is coming from. And it's saying that they're moving from paycheck to purpose. They're moving from satisfaction to development. They're moving from boss to coach. Annual review, ongoing conversations, weaknesses to strengths. If you look at the right, there's 4 things they say that they want from their leaders: compassion, trust, stability, hope. So you start seeing the connections to why these strengths are important and why we're gathering this information. Our goal ultimately is for them to be successful here in the future, right? So by them understanding this, their employers are also reading this. Their employers are also researching this information. If you look at the bottom quadrant, number 3 on the right, 3 reasons to invest in the strengths. If you know your strengths and invest in other strengths, you're more likely to succeed. Get people with right strengths on the right teams. So if we look up there and we see that there's gaps in strengths as a building team, there may be things that we would do differently. We may look at the people, if we're trying to do something with data and analytical, we're probably going to look to those people in that strategic column. Those would be the people that we might want to go to and suggest, can you work on this for us? Because we see that that's one of your strengths. If it's something about public relations, maybe we're going to go to the relationship building group. It's a committee we want. If it's an influencing group, we want to make a change in the district, right? You might go to that group of people and say, here's what we're thinking, what can we do to help us, right? Because we're going to position them in positions that we know is their strength, that they have talent for. And the last one, understanding the needs of those who look to you for leadership. And then number 2, psychological safety. Goes right back to our growth-minded culture, on point with the culture we've been working on and trying to create here. And then equitable input. In other words, everyone needs talk opportunities. Students need talk opportunities, our staff needs talk opportunities. Opportunities to give feedback and to reflect. And then the one in the middle, the number 1 thing to know and do is that the leader matters. Based on research, 70% of team engagement variance rests solely on the leader. And when that leader knows the strengths of their people. And then this was just a takeaway. You saw in the square during Mr. Mahoney's talking, I was taking notes. Yeah, this is my notes, by the way, so I'm just copying my notes for you. But strengths are developed when talents are used. Strengths are developed when talents are used, so it's natural talents. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. If we go to the next one, I'll introduce you. If you didn't have a chance to see the video, Mr. Mahoney's up on the left. There's a great video in your email. If you have an opportunity, please watch that video. I think you'll find it enlightening. And turn if you'll put your cursor over Building Bridges, it probably won't do the link, will it? No. Control. No. Building Bridges to Careers is another partner. This grant was received and completed in partnership. So Mr. Mahoney and Red Hook He reached out to our districts in Southeast Ohio, and he wanted to create this revolution. He is passionate, he's from Monroe County, very passionate about Southeastern Ohio, and wanted our districts to have this opportunity, to pioneer this work. He works with schools all over Ohio, and all over the country, believe it or not. When we were working our, what was it, Tokyo, when we had our administrative, his next meeting was with a group of teachers in Tokyo. So it's all over the place, but he is passionate about Southeastern Ohio and wanting to help our kids and have better development here in this area. Tasha Lear, they're building bridges into careers. She helped in the work of this grant, and then 3 school districts, Warren, Frontier, and then Shenandoah. It was a $70,000 grant. I think I mentioned that in the email, but it was through a collaborative grant from Philanthropic. I always say this wrong. Philanthropic.
Free Ohio.
It's Throppy, Ohio. I always want to say Philanthropic. Ohio is Throppy, and it's OD. And it's called Collaborative Grant Received, Collaborative for Educating Remotely and Transforming Schools. The next slide we go to.
Jim is also our connection to Gulfport, Mississippi. He leads a group called the Mid-States Consortium, which are all larger school districts. Ohio, the 2 Ohio schools that are officially involved are Newark and Upper Arlington. He works with Kingsport, Tennessee, Gulfport, Petal, Mississippi. And we've been able to kind of crash that party. But it's been a great value added for us.
Absolutely. Are you pulling up the thing?
I was trying to find the folder where the actual PowerPoint was, so I could get that Bridges link for you.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's good. So the original grant was for more money. We received actually less, a half of what we originally went for. So this was the phases that we had originally planned for all through June. We were lucky enough to secure a second grant for this work, so we are going to continue the work. Right now, in phase 1 in February, we worked with the administrators from each of the districts, and he did what you did in your email, or what you both do, and that is take the assessment and the PD around what that means for you as a person. And then we had the staff with the PD with our staff. They took the assessment, and I want to share with you that we did this assessment with our 6th through 12th grade teachers. Okay, because it's a pilot, so we didn't do it with every person in the district. We're piloting and to see if we like it, see if it's something we want to continue. If we do, then we'll go moving forward, or hopefully secure grants to continue the work. So we started with 6th through 9th grade, and then the next phase is actually going to be working and assessing students. We chose the 6th graders and 9th graders. The 6th graders will take, if you push the next slide, go to the next slide, Trenda, they're going to take an assessment called the Explore. There's 10 themes in that assessment, and it's about a 10-minute assessment as compared to this one, which is closer to 35 minutes. But it just gives them a starter, kind of like you've heard our career coaches talking about starting to explore their careers in the 6th grade and how it means jobs and going in, and that exploration phase. This is like that exploring. What are they good at? Trying to give them an idea as a 6th grader, what are their strengths? And they are then using those strengths in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We wanted those teachers to understand those strengths so they could work with their students in their classrooms. And then 9th graders would take the Strengths Finder 2.0 when they enter the high school. So again, that's more like that phase, that transition, right? And then what's their strengths as a high schooler? Moving forward, we'd love to continue to offer the Explorer to every 6th grade class as they come in, right? So the 6th graders take it, and they keep that information, they keep pushing forward with that, and then every freshman takes the assessment. But we wanted all the teachers to have it, so even though they're not taking the assessment at grade, they're still aware of their strengths and asking them about it. We've talked about getting their school badges and putting their strengths right on there. So it's an awareness that it stays fresh with them all the time. Their teachers can be like, hey, anybody's got an achiever, let's go. Anybody's got analytical thinker, let's go. This is the job for you. So that's the goal moving forward. Trina, if you go to the next one, I just wanted to tell you a little bit more information about the assessment. I didn't go into a lot of details, but if you look, there's 4 domains to this assessment. executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. Now, they color code them just for your benefit to try to pick out the domains. By no means does it mean anything. The teachers, we had this old survey that we did, and it was color coded. So it's like, oh, I'm green, oh, I'm red. And so they automatically wanted to transition that thought to this, and it's really not about that. But if you look under each domain, then those are the themes under them. And there are 34 themes. Basically, it takes 177 questions. Well, it tells you it takes 177 questions to discover the one true you, right? But it's the patterns of your thinking, of your feeling, and your behaving that creates these categories for you and these themes. And there's 30 years of research to support this. So it's not just something that is new and recently began. It's been in the market and research has been taking place for 30 years. So I was just curious. I know, Laura, you took your assessment. And I was going to ask you a question. Do you think it was accurate? You've already answered that for me tonight.
Yeah, I read it to Jay and he was like, well, there's no surprise.
That's how we all were too.
Well, and we have I'll show you ours, and then I was going to put your little Post-its on our chart, and I'll show you the chart in just one second. But you want to go to the last slide before we do that? And I just wanted to end this. It's through our talents that we access our greatest potential in increasing our opportunities for success, and again, back to our mission and alignment. And we discuss all the time about the importance of keeping our focus, right, in this district. It's support and resources, whether that's money, whether it's curriculum, whatever that is, staying on target with our focus and keeping that alignment to our mission. And I wanted to show you that this truly aligns. It's not just something else that we created, just a grant that I was out there running for to try to get the money to. It truly aligns, and if you think about all the things you've heard us say, it's engagement, motivation. It's the number one thing that our teachers were complaining about over the last 6 years. Engagement, motivation of kids. This is the intent of this is to help them engage and be motivated. The growth-minded culture, the career readiness, employability, collaboration, networking, 21st century. So it truly supports our mission. It's not just another thing. And then Trinda, if you'll go to that document, I want to show them where our admin team falls. It's kind of hard. I wish you could see the whole thing.
No, I can fix
There
that.
you go. So we decided that for the admin piece, anyone who really leads people, because you saw that statement, 70% of leaders, variance is about the leader. So we actually looked at leaders in the food service, leaders in our maintenance, leaders in the bus, in the transportation, leaders of our buildings. You can see Dan, Trinda, myself, Danielle. We saw the leaders.
Hard to believe I don't have any.
Secretary. But I flipped it a little bit. I created this chart by random color the domains horizontal versus vertical, so I could get more people on there. And the cool thing is too, I'll just give kudos to our Fab Lab. So we saw an opportunity to support the other districts that are in collaboration with us. So like the vinyl poster that you see here, we made some and we delivered them to show them, the work that we can do and help them out. And then we made 2 or 3 different kinds of posters for the teachers, the classrooms to support them. And we'll be doing that for our teachers here as well. So if you make it out.
So we had one critical breakthrough here this week with this already. We have one person. Go back up, Brenda.
The woo.
Yeah, we have one woo.
Like-
And we have a whole lot of not woos, so we have a career fair to go to.
Uh-huh.
Who are we sending? Send a woo.
Send the woo. Talk to anybody.
And oddly
Who's your
enough-
It's Chad Miller.
And oddly enough, he's the first, like, he's ready to go.
If you go back to this packet, it defines each one of them. So you can see the woo. But overarching, you can see a lot of executing. We are in education, achievers, rangers, and we have relationship, strategic. Those are our 3 top areas. And influencing is one of the areas that we find weakness in. We're looking at the strengths.
Was anyone surprised with what they got, or was everyone like, oh yeah?
Most people were like, oh yeah. And you have to keep in mind, education is a passion job for most people, right?
Yeah.
They're here because they're passionate about what they're doing. But I just am so excited because I can see the benefit of our kids. for them to know how good I am. And it doesn't matter what kid you are. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. You're going to leave that day after that assessment feeling great about yourself because you know there's some things that you're good at.
And my thing is, once you're aware of your strengths, you take even more heed at your weaknesses and where you can develop as a person. And, you know, I can only help my circle as much as I know myself. So, I mean, it's beautiful.
It's one of the questions.
Our Business Advisory Council just loves that we're doing this. I can tell you that I think I've looked at that list of our admin team all the time, and, you know, some of the things that frustrate you about your teammates, you look and say, well, that's why they don't see this like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, they can really fill some gaps.
Mhm.
And this is the gaps they can fill. We need to put them in areas of their strength. It's also interesting to see if you have two people that work together, how they complement each other.
Mhm.
Well, if this is your strength, you should do 99% of it, and where you don't have strength, your colleague does, let them take that over. It's been
That's
great.
all, nobody had communication or command. I just was looking to see.
Uh-huh.
In the top five.
Yeah, and this is in your board minutes too, so you can take a time to look at it more in depth. And I wanted to add you guys, so I put your names over there, so when we get yours, we'll put your data in. So if you'll send it to me, your top 5, and we'll add them to the chart, and you'll be part of the group with us. But any questions you think of, just feel free to email me, give me a shout. If you have issues with your survey, let me know, I'll walk you through it.
So, couple things. Jim Mahoney, we didn't mention, was actually the founder of Patel for Kids. He's a former teacher at Frontier, former superintendent at East Muskingum, former superintendent at Muskingum Valley. So he has a lot of southeastern Ohio roots, but he is world renowned.
Did you say that he started in the town?
He's a rock star. And then honestly, Marcy really has done the lion's share of the work to bring the whole, her and Leslie Dammer and a couple other people really brought this consortium together, taking it to be what I think is going to be really, really good. So, thanks for.
Mr. Mahoney was my college instructor, the education, first education classes. Pregnant for my first daughter. And still go back. He's a special man. He is, in his heart, he is very passionate about education in this area.
The last meal I had prior to the world shutting down was in San Diego, California. He and Doug Hughes. Doug Hughes started his teaching and coaching career. And he's now, oddly, he's the OHSA executive director.
I didn't know overnight. I saw him a couple years after, I haven't seen him since I babysat for him, he was coaching here, and I took care of his kids. I'm like, Marcia Carpenter, I have not seen him.
Great.
Yeah, he's really changed, totally. I don't think, except for his eyes, remember he's got the bluest of eyes. I don't remember his
I
eyes.
never looked into that.
Enough of the woo, enough of the woo.
It was.
That's a different list.
You never look at it again the same guy.
Look at his eyes, guy, next time you see him.
I'm so lost.
Thank you, Marcy.
You're welcome.
Great stuff.
Like I said, please let me know if you need anything, any support.
I just said some money, Morris. I just said you mind real quick.
All right, anything else, Dan, before we move on?
No, that's it.
Trenda, you're up.
Okay, I have the minutes of our special meeting that was on February 27th.
Questions? Motion? Archer, second?
Second.
Lori?
I thought that was Archer,
Yes.
McElroy,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
and I have the minutes of our regular meeting that was on February 18th.
Motion?
Motion.
Carpenter, second? McElroy?
Carpenter,
Yes.
McElroy,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
McKee.
Yes.
I have a series of financial reports for your approval. Our financial summary. A disbursement summary. Two cafeteria reports, one from the nutrition group and one from our cash basis records. I have there's a new report here. This comes from the redesign system, and it's
What system?
the uniform school accounting system that we use for I wanted to show you the link between that spreadsheet that I send you every month, which is this,
Yeah.
and what the system says. Because I want to make sure you have confidence that just because I typed it in the spreadsheet, that's what it is. And by the way, the audit committee does look at that. So we have audit committee a couple times a year, and the audit committee looks at the cash, the real details of it, the cash balances, all the details. But I wanted to give you a connection because I thought maybe that might be like a missing piece that you don't get to see very often. So I took this report and you can do it line by line, but I'm gonna show you how the bottom, if you go all the way to the bottom and you look at the column that says fund balance. Let's see this number right here. And then encumbrances, and then the unencumbered balance. So remember, this is purchase orders that are currently in the system, so we reserve that money and set it aside. Compared to the spreadsheet that I send you, which is this, and go to the bottom where all funds are reported. So this is the cash balance column. Okay, and there's that $18 million figure. There's the reserves for encumbrances. Let's scoot this over just a little bit. Okay, and then this is the unencumbered column. So you take the cash balance, subtract out the encumbrances, and you get the balance. Now, what this spreadsheet does for you that cash summary report doesn't do for you is it shows you all of the compliance issues compliance facts over here on the right. So this is where we're judging what percent of budget to actual so far, where we are in terms of appropriations compared to beginning fund balance plus estimated receipts, which is called resources, and where we stand in terms of needing to make any amendments. So once in a while, you'll see numbers over here that are in the red, and then that's when you expect to see me proposing a amendment or a modification to budget numbers. So I thought it would be cool if I could just show you guys that connection and show you how it works. So that's on there for your review. And then I do have 2 budget modifications for your approval. These have to do with student activities. So there's this one and estimated receipts, also in student activities, right here.
Any questions, comments? Motion? There's Carpenter, second.
Second.
Archer?
Carpenter,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
McElroy,
Yes.
McKee.
Yes.
And I have a transfer for your approval, and this is for $25,000 from the general fund to the high school athletic fund. Just a notation on this too, I mean, we've obviously taken a significant revenue hit on athletics. So if we thought we had problems before, they're only magnified now because of less revenue too. And we have had some discussions about whether some of the ESSER funds, some of the CARES money, because COVID caused decreased revenue, could we possibly use some of that to subsidize some athletic expenditure? So we are looking into that.
I can say, yeah, you do.
I think we have a really good chance of that, so. In the meantime, we can't let them keep operating on a deficit, so we do need to transfer some money.
Motion,
Motion.
Carpenter, second.
Call for it.
Carpenter?
Yes.
McElroy?
Yes.
Archer?
Yes.
McKee?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Mr. Leffenwell, you're up.
I'd like your approval of the following personnel matters, and for some clarification, you once again see resignations of high school baseball, because since the season has started, we do have a full JV schedule, full JV roster. So we saw it prudent to add a third paid position. Initially, we had a high school head coach and a high school assistant, and that was divided three ways. Given the level of responsibility and traveling with a completely different team and schedule, we felt like it was warranted to add that second assistant position. This is consistent with what we've done in football and other things like that when we have a full JV schedule, et cetera. So there's no expectation that we will continue to fill those if the teams don't warrant that, but we certainly are optimistic that we'll keep moving forward. I think it's just fantastic to have that full JV squad, so especially a lot of our younger kids. But I don't know how you build a program with people sitting in the dugout, so I really think that this is a good change. So then you see when we go back and the next thing we're asking them to accept the resignation and reemploy them, you see they'll each occupy one spot versus sharing two.
Questions, comments? Motion,
Motion.
McElroy, second.
Second.
Archer?
McElroy?
Yes.
Archer?
Yes.
Carpenter?
No.
McKee?
Yes.
Okay, under business matters, item 5.2, see just a couple of customary things regarding our student accident insurance. You also see the calendar for official approval that we looked at last month. And then the new item there would be the approval moving forward in our design and build process. It's approving Josh Kredovich and SHP Design on our criteria architect services for Green Acres Farm not to exceed $19,500, which is very, very competitive given what our criteria architect services have been in past projects.
Dave, is that, the not to exceed, is that like an hourly
Yeah.
up to?
Yes, he supplies us with a list of that. We've always had it. That also includes project management through the completion of the project.
Hey, Jen, that question, or I guess it'd be a question. Voluntary student accident insurance, is that like insurance in case someone gets hurt on the road?
Yeah, so what happens is if you sign up as an athlete, you have to verify that you have insurance in order to be able to play. And if you don't, you have the option to purchase an insurance plan. Your parents or your guardians can purchase this. So we just have it on file through the school. We don't actually operate it or do anything for it. But I will say that we had an experience one time with a child got hurt playing a sport, and they came in and said it was a really good policy. Like they were surprised about how well it paid. So we've just continued with that on the advice of, parents saying that it was a good I said,
It's been around forever.
it has, and different companies will like solicit, you know, use their policy, but I guess we always thought if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. And we've got good reviews in the past, so.
All right. Done, Dan? Legislative,
We need to vote on that.
oh,
It's, I think it's out there early.
motion,
Motion,
Archer, second.
Second.
Carpenter,
Archer,
yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
McElroy,
Yes.
McKee.
yes. Now, legislative, anybody got anything?
Danielle had asked me earlier whether to keep that section, and I said I should ask you, and then I forgot.
Yeah, I have a few things. I mean, there's a whole lot, but just a few things. One, you know, they are hearing testimony in the House this week about whether or not to continue to allow armed staff security. That's kind of a hot topic. It was hard. I agreed to go give testimony, and quite honestly, Jim from Faster was having a hard time getting it, confirming the date and time the testimony was going to be heard. It was almost like you felt like he and I have been in contact, and he's got a lot of support for that. But that's not guaranteed. Not to change, I guess I should say. There is a new report card legislation out that though I know several people in the committee, and they will tell you that it's still not perfect, but it's a better representation of things that we would want in a report card. So Don Jones is co-sponsoring that, so you got to feel like that's a start in the right direction. Those are the two big things. The other thing would be the COVID relief funds, or trying to refer to it as ESSER. You know, our round two is about $618,000. We have a plan to determine where that might best come from, and quite honestly, we're kind of waiting on our actual construction numbers to come in on our phase 4 construction and some other things to find out which of those things might be able to be offset through ESSER as well. Such things as the athletic fund. So we believe there's going to be a round 3 that we were indicated that could be as much as 2 or 2.5 times. What was it?
It was 1 point something million. I can't remember this exact.
So they're gonna do it like they did the other 2 rounds? If you got it the first round, you automatically get it the second round, you
It's not
automatically.
competitive.
It's not competitive, it's just one.
And nobody new can get in.
What are you involved in?
By the way, just give it.
Yeah.
How much was it? How much was the first one? 618?
That's the
The
second.
second one that we're about to get was 618. The first one was,
Or something.
yeah,
Well, the reality of it is this, I mean, everybody wants to go back and talk about the cuts that we received last spring. Well, these payments have far exceeded what we were ever cut. And I mean, we appreciate the help.
But what was that base on? Just was taking
What was it?
Enrollment,
The second round. Now they're gonna get
poverty, different factors.
Trend up. Sorry. Would you say the third one could be 1.7?
I'm gonna look up the exact dollar amount, because I don't want to misquote on that, but, imagine that.
2.3. That's all. Wow.
Now, there's criteria for spending the money, what it can be used on.
But you know, just telling Trent that a lot of the ones who got the second round couldn't even use it all because they couldn't meet the criteria. Now we're gonna give them more?
They can find a way to spend it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's probably the biggest stuff that's going on in legislature. Charter and voucher schools remain a hot ticket. 2.4 in round 3 versus what we received in
Oh,
round 2.
okay.
2.4 times.
Yeah.
So
So that's all on the legislative piece.
Vocational? Board of the bulletins in there, anybody got any comments or anything about it? Speaking of vocational, where we at number wise? Do we even know yet? Okay. Financial trend, anything?
Just two real quick things. One, I mentioned earlier about the Audit Finance Committee, and we will be coming up, needing to have a meeting. And I was wondering if, either before the April meeting or before the May meeting would be acceptable. So that would be Ed, Dan, myself, and Lori. And you don't have to answer tonight, just be thinking about it maybe and let me know.
For when?
Either before the April meeting, which would be
15th,
What is it, Lori?
April 15th for May, and then May 20th.
yeah, 1, 2, 3, yeah, so either the 15th or we go into May 1, 2, 3, which would be the 20th.
When do you want?
Do you need time?
How about sooner and get it over with?
All right, April, 6 o'clock soon enough?
Yeah.
Safety meeting next month?
Oh,
We'll be done by then,
Be quick.
Yeah.
Be done by 6?
Yeah, we'll be good.
okay. So, let me just go ahead and say
What time,
that.
6?
Yeah.
April 15th, 6 p.m. And then we did get our first half property tax settlement from Noble County, and I itemized the breakdown of that for you here. And I also attached a copy if you would be interested in any of the other details. But you know how I was talking about class 1 and class 2 and homestead and rollback. If anyone's interested, I can explain the settlement sheet to you. But basically, our we got a check for 9.5 million. And probably the first question you're asking was how close was our estimate? And I had estimated 9.3 million. So we got more than what I had predicted. And investigating further as to why that happened, I would say that this delinquent number right here, these delinquent tax collections were higher than I had thought they would be. So
That's
I
the
would,
delinquent they brought in.
that's delinquents that they collected. I had thought that, because of COVID, because people were laid off, because the unemployment is high, I was thinking that, our historical trends of delinquent collections would not hold true. And,
Wow.
so I don't think that the theory was bad. I just think that what I thought wasn't true.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty impressive estimate you had to put together
Yeah, really.
there.
Thanks.
And then even to have a backup on why it wasn't just exactly what you thought it needed to be. That's good.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Dan?
Phase 4 inspection meeting today. Today's the first look we had at about an 85% drawing. Went through the whole thing from plumbing, mechanical, electrical to quite a lengthy meeting, but it's really shaping up nice. We should have updated pricing, possibly even by the end of the week, next week. when I say updated pricing, just remember, we've passed a not to exceed amount. So, but we have changed the scope significantly. But while we changed the scope, we also reduced the scope. So just trying to see where some of that pricing comes in, and we should be good shape next week. I would also tell you, and I'm kind of telling Guy, we do believe that a lot of those ESSER funds are very appropriate for a lot of the items in this project, what it's designed for. So when we pin that down, a lot of the HVAC, a lot of the ventilation, a lot of the plumbing, a lot of those things can fit under the ESSER requirements. So we'll make a decision at that point, kind of know what our options for the expenditure of that money. So that'd be great. Green Acres Farm, you approved Josh tonight as a Criterion architect. I think that was a more than competitive price. He has the criteria set. He was on site. When was that?
Last Wednesday.
Yeah, last Wednesday. Met with, Ed was there. Had our staff there, had a few kids there, and we really just walked the property and talked about placement, where things fit best. And we now have the water line marked. Norm marked the water line.
Was I close?
Huh?
Was I close?
Yeah.
Is it along the toe?
Huh?
Is it along the toe of that?
No, it goes right up through the middle of it.
Oh, does it? Sometimes kind of like a power line.
Did placement of the facilities change at all, or?
Not a whole lot. I think a lot of people were just worried that the drawing didn't indicate, like, I think we found it. It's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
And why it's there. So that was good. We did, Trenda notified, survey company, to complete survey of the property that we are trying to acquire, and they think they can have that started and finished in the next 30 days. So, a very reasonable price. So we're excited about that. We'll be able, once we have that information, then we have everything we need not only to proceed with the purchase, but also proceed with the drafting of the release from the coal company.
And they called it a.
So Kevin just can't draft that agreement until we have the survey information. So the survey is the big thing, and it'll be done in a very timely manner. We should be able to proceed as scheduled. The road, there's no other way to say this. You know, we get a call a couple weeks ago asking if we partner on a grant. My partner, we just had to write a letter of support. We were awarded the Remote NX grant through the Ohio Department of Education, and our partners are Dayton and Cincinnati Public Schools and some different folks. We're the only school in our region to receive that, and this provides training for staff and students for some additional certifications. It's a CAM industrial, it's a 12-point credential. So that's another thing that we're going to be able to just kind of add in around the regular movement around the building. So it's just weird how you end up aligned with all these different people, but it's also nice when people are calling you saying, hey, I'd like to include you guys on this. Okay, great. And, I mean, I can tell you the way we found out we had it. I should get on this email with, I didn't know any of the people. Like, can we arrange a meeting to talk about how we're going to roll this out? I hadn't even been notified that we received it yet. And when I'm scheduling that, and we get the call that, hey, congratulations. That is absolutely part of the network that Dustin Pilot brings to us. Because he works statewide and he tries to piece people together, and whether it's in Campbell and Youngstown or it's Cincinnati Public or Dayton, Ramtech, the industrial robotics is a backer of this grant as well. So we're absolutely, blessed to be part of a great network. So that's a positive, and truly, I wish I had more information for you right now, but we just need to meet again and talk about what that plan looks like. Get that moving. 8.8, please mark your calendars. We're really hoping that this is going to be an exciting night. I'm just going to remind you about the curriculum showcase. I think all of you received the magazine of other curriculum offerings. And another great job by Jeff Harrison. But that is the first time that we've been able to get all that information in one spot. And wow, when you see it in one spot, I can tell you that since that's went to print, we could already add. This grant's another example of that, but we're looking forward to that to being an opportunity for our staff and our students to showcase the things that they're proud of, the things that they're excited about. This was also built on the premise that we've traditionally brought other people into our school to tell what they have to offer. And a lot of times our own kids really aren't sure what we offer here ourselves. So I think that's going to be a big night, and I hope a lot of people come out. Please share with people, and we have an advertising plan. We're going to continue to communicate this out until the night of the event.
What time you starting that day?
I think it's like 5 o'clock, but we have shifts. We're doing it by alphabet to limit the crowd and the traffic. But this is not limited to just our students and families. If you had grandparents that would want to come and say, hey, you know, the place looks the same when I drive by, but what's going on inside is drastically different. And we've got a few of our business and industry partners that are coming out. That was another great meeting last week as well. A lot of great stuff happened. Truly, that should be a good night. I will tell you, some of our staff are a little uncomfortable with this. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, this is your shop. Like,
Tell them what you do.
yeah, tell people, you know, whether you have a teacher that's having a great experience with Leader in Me, or whether it's a STEM activity, or it's whether, you know, integrity reading in preschool. And, you know, we have a lot of good stuff. Let's share it. Let's let people know what it is that we do and why we do it. But I think that's going to continue to build momentum. It should be a big thing. So that's what I have.
Hey, when Paul was mentioning something about, nominating one of our programs, can we do something like nominate them, go up there to the, one of the first 100 people to get in for the MSBA? Or maybe not to the Queen of Jarvis, kind of sounded.
So-
And what he does with the.
Our team has had those recommendation forms for a couple of weeks, and what I challenge the team is we should have at least one nominee in every category. So, yeah, I don't know where that'll be, but that'd be awesome. If you haven't seen his Rube Goldberg machine, it's quite they're really proud of that.
And that's something that the kids can go up and.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Other good stuff.
You never
That
been up
was
there
just-
for that part, have you?
I don't think I was, and I think I was up there for like the open house, where you went in and they had all the stuff in there. That was neat.
No, actually, I think the last group that we had for this student showcase, your daughter Mackenzie was there for culture shift with kids from their two school districts.
When is that? Is that part of that November thing?
Yeah.
When is that? I have to go to that.
Normally around Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle of November.
Yeah.
Trina, do you go to that? The
I'm sorry?
OSBA thing? The OSBA in November, do you go to that?
Yeah, you go up there.
Yeah, the Capitol Conference.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was only paying half attention. I'm still left trying to look for that extra $3 amount.
Well, you already said the article was 2.4 times.
I know, but I wanted to know what that, I didn't get the exact dollars.
$618,000 times 2.4.
Anyway, yes, that's Capitol Conference, and I don't know what they will do next year.
1.40.
Are we on video?
Yep. So,
Diane,
Imagine that.
Is that all we got?
we do have an executive session.
I now accept the motion to enter into executive session, consider matters required to be confidential. Motion,
Motion.
Archer, second.
Hey,
Archer?
Yes.
McElroy?
yes.
okay,
Carpenter?
yes.
McKee?
Yes.
I'm going to- I'm going to-
Yes.